welcome to this week's weekly Pan-African News Roundup on the Kente Business Journal. Here we serve you with all the major news headlines across Africa and the African diaspora. My name is Rahel Akosia-Redua Opoku. In today's headlines, Nigeria begins hearing presidential election challenge on Monday, and Ethiopia is offering up to 5 banking licenses for foreign investors. And Mali's government has announced new date for referendum on new constitution. Now the news in details. The head of the International Monetary Fund has urged African countries to implement the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Speaking Friday in Nairobi, Managing Director of IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, said intercontinental trade could grow by 53% if steps are taken to remove trade barriers and improve logistics and transportation. Georgieva said there are many benefits to be gained from the AfTA, but first, she said reforms are needed to capture the full advantages, including what the IMF sees as the #1 priority, that's reducing trade barriers such as tariffs. She said if Africa decides to follow our signs, for example, and bring trade barriers from 6% down to 1%, that would be a major step in intercontinental trade growth. And Ethiopia is set to issue up to 5 banking licenses to foreign investors in the next 5 years as part of plans to open up the financial services sector to foreign competition and to help drive foreign investment inflows and economic growth, a senior central bank official said on Wednesday. Foreign investors have long eyed sectors including banking, telecoms, transportation and aviation in Ethiopia, a country of more than 100 million people and one of the biggest economies in sub-Saharan Africa. 2 years ago, Ethiopia's government granted a telecoms license to a private operator to break the monopoly of state-owned Ethio Telecom in that sector. Nigeria's election tribunal will on Monday start hearing opposition petitions challenging President-elect Bola Tinubu's victory in the disputed February presidential vote. Tinubu from the ruling All Progressive Congress Party defeated his closest rivals, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party's Peter Obi, who alleged fraud and have launched a court challenge. The hearing will be before Court of Appeal judges who constitute the tribunal. Under Nigeria's electoral laws, the first day of hearing will see candidates' lawyers agree on the witnesses and evidence to be used during the proceedings. Atiku and Obi want the tribunal to invalidate Tinubu's victory, arguing the vote was fraught with irregularities among other criticisms. Tinubu, who is said to be sworn in on May 29, says he won fairly and wants the petitions dismissed. And in Kenya, President William Ruto last Friday welcomed German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Nairobi for the second leg of the diplomat's African tour. The German Chancellor is knocking on Kenya's door seeking clean energy partnerships after Germany had to wean itself off Russian energy imports following the war in Ukraine. Kenya is currently Germany's biggest trading partner from East Africa. 90% of the East African nation's power needs are covered by renewables, with plans to fully go green by 2030. The governments of Niger and French nuclear firm Urano on Thursday signed a deal to extend the operational life of the country's sole uranium mine. The overall partnership agreement means the Sumer mine in northern Niger could carry on working until 2040, 11 years beyond its currently expected closure, said the mining minister Adiza Husseini. The deal concerning Sumer includes a pledge by Urano to inject $44 million into the education and other sectors in Niger, the company's CEO said. However, the two sides agreed to postpone the start of mining, which has estimated deposit of 200,000 tons of uranium. That's among the biggest in the world. Tunisia's largest union, the Tunisian General Labour Union, on Monday attacked the government's handling of negotiations with the IMF on a loan worth $2 billion to bail out the country as it slides in deeper debt. Despite an argument in principle on the loan agreed in October, talks with the IMF have been stalled for months over the president not committing to restructure public bodies and left subsidies on basic goods. The IMF has called for legislation to restructure more than 100 state-owned firms which holds monopolies over many parts of the economy and in many cases are heavily indebted. The union said the IMF's conditions for granting the bailout would impoverish the Tunisian people even more in a country where inflation is already more than 10% and unemployment is higher than 15%. Mali's ruling government has announced that a long-awaited referendum on a new constitution will be held in the country on June 18. The referendum is a major milestone on the road to elections promised for February 2024 after a coup in May 2021. Government spokesperson Colonel Abdullahi Maiga on Friday read out a decree on state television saying the country was called upon to decide on the constitution project in June after missing a previous deadline of March 19. The Economic Community of West African States lifted a set of trade and financial sanctions against Mali in July last year after the military government committed to a March 2024 handover instead of their previous terms of remaining in power for up to 5 years. And in entertainment, the 24th Vodafone Ghana Music Awards ended on May 6 with Black Sherif taking home the Most Coveted Artist of the Year award. He also won a number of awards from other categories, as did about 20 other artists. The night saw artists like PSA Esther winning Gospel Artist of the Year, Asake winning Best African Artist of the Year, Sarkodie taking home the Best Hip Hop Artist of the Year, among others. And that's it for this week's weekly Pan-African News Roundup on the Kente Business Journal. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification bell to stay updated always. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. Catch you next weekend.
Thank you very much for watching this video. Please do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel Kente Business Journal TV and press the notification bell to stay updated always.